From Nashville's WSM Radio, the original home of the Grand Ole Opry, this is a Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast.
Hey, it's Charlie Matos, and welcome to our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Taylor Hicks. Taylor has joined us many times throughout the years, but the morning of February the 28th of 2023 would be a very special one for both us and Taylor, as we would invite him to make his Grand Ole Opry debut. Enjoy our Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast with Taylor Hicks.
So into your life in living room, season 5 of American Idol, comes Taylor Ruben Hicks. And from that point to this morning's Coffee, Country, and Cody, a lot has happened. An extraordinary journey in your life. Welcome. It's good to see you again, man.
Thank you. Thank you.
Charlie was just doing a little history on your career with Coffee, Country, and Cody a moment.
10 years ago, June of 2013 was Taylor's first visit with us here in our studio.
18 years old.
And a full-grown man.
Me too.
18 years old
Me
and
too.
a full head of gray hair.
Did I read somewhere once that you started going gray when you were 14 or something?
It was early. Yeah, I had kids pluck it out of my head in class and stuff. So. And then, you get to high school and you're half, you got a half full head of gray hair, so, I made a few beer runs in college that I wasn't.
I was gonna say that probably made it easier.
But they played to it. I remember famously on American Idol, like you were the old guy, but everybody loved the old guy. We're pulling for the old guy.
Well, yeah, everybody loves an underdog story. That's for sure. I played that role to a T, no pun intended. But they wanted me to diet on Idol. They wanted me to diet, and I just said, I wasn't going to do it. I was going to stay true to who I was. If it wasn't broke, don't fix it.
So how old were you when you were on there?
28. I was the oldest Idol winner at 28 years old.
Oh, that feels like you're barely scratching the surface anymore.
What's funny is that, I went through Katrina, and then I got out, I got a free ticket anywhere in the country from Southwest Airlines, and I pulled into Birmingham after the storm. And I went up to the Southwest Airlines counter and I said, I want to go to Vegas. I've never been to Vegas before. I went to Vegas on a whim, and I got there at 12:30 at night, and my brother called me about 45 minutes later after I landed and said, American Idol tryouts are in an hour and 45 minutes at the convention center. So that's
so
how
you didn't go to try out.
I went to play slots.
Whoa.
And I didn't have a lot of money, as a kid back then, because I was still struggling as a musician. But I went through this traumatic experience of Hurricane Katrina, caught a flight, Southwest. I still have the Southwest CEO after American Idol found the ticket. They went back and found the transaction, and I've actually got it. I've got it downstairs. And what was funny, though, is that I always like to tell people that, I get this call from my brother. I go in, I get in line, and everybody's asking me where my kids are that are auditioning.
Oh,
no. Would not leave me alone. Thought that I had 3 or 4 kids in line, and I was like, you know what? Hey, it's me. You're not going to believe this, but I can sing some Joe Cocker pretty good. I might look like I've got 4 or 5 kids in line right now, but just wait.
So what was the first thing you sang in your audition? You recall?
So I sang A Change Is Gonna Come by Sam Cooke. And then I started thinking about, I had to, and this is always a good tip for people that are auditioning and stuff, especially singing, is that you want to find a song that you can really relate to, because if you can relate to music and you can relate to the song, then your emotion's going to probably ooze out a little bit more than they normally do. In that setting, you got nerves. So I ended up singing a old Ray Charles number called Swanee River Rock. And in the line in this Ray Charles tune is I'm far from my folks back home. So I was completely removed from my surroundings, Birmingham and the South. I'd gone through Katrina, and here I am in this odd auditioning setup. I've never auditioned for anything in my whole life, and here this opportunity was, and So I ended up singing an old obscure Ray Charles song, which probably worked to my favor a little bit more than, because they said, where did you get that Ray Charles? I said, well, I listened to a lot of him when I was growing up.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, what was that the standard that was being played in the house? Did Mom love one thing and you latched onto it?
My family loved a lot of different music, but I believe it or not, it's an interesting story. The common thread this time of year for me is allergies. Mm-hmm. So as my immune system was growing, and I had really, really bad pollen allergies. Mm-hmm. So in the springtime, growing up as a kid, my eyes would get all gunky, and we get so I couldn't really see for a period of time growing up as a kid. And I felt like that might have been added to a little bit of the growing of a musical ear, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So, and then when I found Ray Charles and he was blind as a child and stuff, I kind of maybe had a little bit of an, kind of an empathetic relationship with him, and just devoured every kind of music that he had.
I also heard that along the way your parents had shared custody, and that maybe being drawn to the blues and the soulful side of things, the lyrical content of that kind of music,
I think
appealed to you.
As an only child, and kids, you go through divorce as a child, and you latch on to some stuff that you can emotionally connect to, and I think that could be said for all of us children of that go through that spot in life. It's just how you deal with it.
We are proud to welcome you to Only Child Nation, though. Kelly Sutton and yours truly. Charlie Daniels, a great
Only Child Nation.
Only Child Nation. We have our own gathering.
That might be a pretty good country song.
Hey!
We get a third. We were in the room.
So you mentioned Ray Charles early, and once you made the show, my favorite Elton John song showed up a couple of times, including the finale. And Leave On is just right in your wheelhouse, huh?
Yeah, I sang a lot of that. It's a funny story though, is that I had a friend of mine actually live in the same complex that he did in Atlanta, and I would try to sneak up and knock on his door. I stayed there for about 4 or 5 days because when you're on the show, Idol, believe it or not, you sing a song by an artist, you're all of a sudden they're going to get a big check in about 10 months, and I think that when I did Taking It to the Streets, I knew Michael McDonald, and I mean, I think we moved 500,000 units for him in 24 hours.
Nice.
So you have a connection. Look, back if you want to go to a show, and you're on the Idol show and you're singing those songs, those artists know when you sing them because they get a bump in their music.
Yeah.
Well, we were shocked to read it's been 14 years since your last official single release, which we are going to feature here in just a minute on WSM Radio. Take us through that period of time.
Yeah, I think
because Kelly quoted you yesterday. What did you say?
You said quality over quantity.
That's right. Well, yeah, and that's a tough thing to swallow these days. I've been in Nashville for a long time, and
for people who don't know, you live here now.
I live here, yeah. I've been in and out really, truly since I was about 22 years old. But I just decided I wasn't going to. Luckily, I've been able to do some other things in the business that allow me to expand and. But as far as music, I wanted to make sure that I put the right collection of songs together. I'm not getting any grayer, so.
So it's you, Jason Deere, and Jen Wayne of Runaway June are the co-writers.
Yeah.
So
I had a great time writing.
Who had Porch Swing? Who brought that?
I really don't remember actually. I just it was one of those things where I kind of had this big, huge John Anderson fan, and I remember swanging,
of course,
and I thought to myself, well, has there been an idea that's really kind of focused, not necessarily around John Anderson swanging, but has there been a focal point of the actual porch swing? And as we started talking about how, iconic and what a classic American centerpiece the porch swing is around all the homes, I was like, I think I had my first kiss on my and then the next thing you know, Jason was like, my granddad had one, and I just thought, what a wonderful idea for a song, especially just as good old down home country, song that you can talk about a love story on a porch swing. And I thought about hopefully that it can connect and communicate, and maybe people reminisce about just how important that piece was around their home growing up, and so here we are with Porch Swing.
With Taylor Hicks, the Soul Patrol. Yeah. Pulling it out this morning on WSM Radio and Circle Television all over the world. And Taylor Hicks continues at 8:48. Good morning. Approaching 9 o'clock in America's Music City. I saw where you're going on tour, the Armed Forces Entertainment Tour to Southwest Asia.
Southwest Asia. I'm going to go over there and perform for the troops. This will be my first time to go overseas and perform, and I couldn't be any more prouder to do it. And I'm excited to go over there. I'm sure those guys could use a little Southern Roadhouse music.
Well, they're going to get Runaway June, Matt Stell, the Harlem Globetrotters, WWE Pro Wrestling, and Taylor Hicks.
Sounds like an old school Bob Hope gig, doesn't it?
It does.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
we just need
the pretty women with Runaway June. You got the musician, the comic.
You're not going to jump in the wrestling ring at all.
No.
We just need the College All-America team, right?
That's right.
Remember back in the day?
A couple of good football players.
That's right.
But yeah, I'm excited. It's an honor to go over there and perform. And a little nerve-wracking too. I mean, flying all over. I've toured Southeast Asia, but not Southwest Asia.
Yeah, folks will be familiar with Southeast Asia if you're of a certain age, because that's what you heard every evening from Walter Cronkite and the Vietnam War in Southeast Asia.
Oh yeah. He's. I'm excited. Taking my band, and we're going to go over there, and we're going to be over there for 2 weeks, 8 shows, and then I'm excited because I'm flying on Qatar Airways from Doha to Miami. And if I'm not mistaken, that's like maybe the 4th or 5th longest flight in the world.
Wow.
So how long is it?
I think it's 16, 17 hours.
Oh, my gosh.
Ooh.
Which is, I can't imagine what other flight there is that's longer than that.
No.
I mean, I guess there must be some 20-hour flights and stuff, or maybe from Australia. But we're super excited. It's a part of the world I've never been, and it's going to be fun, and I just can't wait to go over there and perform for the troops. They deserve it.
I just looked. It's been, I don't know if you know this, coming up on 17 years since you won American Idol.
Mm-hmm. Like I said, not going any grayer.
And then this has been 14 years since you put out music.
Yeah.
You like taking those long spans.
Well, I just never say no. For me, I've always been the one is if you get into show business, you don't say, the way that you can get out of show business is if you say no to something. Mm-hmm. So if someone, calls you up and says, hey, we got a Broadway show, have you ever acted before? You say yes.
Okay, your birthday is October the 7th.
Mm-hmm.
You missed being born on the Grand Ole Opry's birthday by 2 days. If I invited you
don't do this to me.
debut at the Grand Ole
Don't do
Opry
it.
on June 16th,
What?
would you say yes?
Absolutely. Oh, my Lord, are you serious?
I'm absolutely serious.
For real.
I got a gig on the Opry?
June 16th, your Grand Ole Opry debut, Taylor Hicks.
That gives me time to find me one of those good old nudie suits.
Manuel is still in business, baby.
Hey, Manuel, I might have to send this little clip to Manuel, and I'm about to put some rhinestones on, baby. That's amazing.
Yes.
Really? That's
we are
unbelievable.
honored
Oh,
to
thank
be
you.
able to
Golly.
invite you to debut at the Grand Ole Opry.
Oh, I've been looking forward to going. I love going over there and seeing shows, but I never thought in a million years that I get to play it. And what's even, I was telling you, I got really bad allergies, and it's pollen season, and I like to, when I was 22 years old, when I was living here in Nashville, I'd come over to the atrium at Opryland and sit, and I wouldn't sneeze because there wouldn't be any pollen. And now I get to play on the Grand Ole Opry. So that's just, I can't thank you. Oh man, I'm kind of shocked.
And the New York Times is bragging on you too, Charlie Matos.
I think they said it best. Part Stax, part Motown, part honky tonk.
Part Grand Ole Opry.
Yeah.
Oh, that's unbelievable. Thank you so much for the invite.
And by the way, Taylor, if you want to keep it in the house, Kelly has a bedazzler. So
I
she
do.
She could work some magic on that.
If you
I
need
think
me.
this is going to be a pretty good little. I think this is going to be a good combo.
We call it fake Manuel.
I'm down with that too. I need to play this. I need to play Porch Swing a couple more times to get Manuel to be able to pay for Manuel's suit.
He debuts on the Grand Ole Opry June 16th. Taylor Hicks.
Thank you.
Boy, a face full of that will do you good in here in the morning, because we're just right up, 3-4 feet away here, Kelly.
Feeling good.
Yeah.
For listening to the Coffee, Country, and Cody podcast. Make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And please leave us a 5-star review. This podcast was produced through the facilities of WSM Radio in Nashville, Tennessee. The hosts of Coffee, Country, and Cody are Bill Cody, Charlie Matos, and Kelly Sutton. Producer Eric Markham. WSM General Manager and Director of Content and Programming, J. Patrick Tittle. Copyright 2023. Opry Entertainment Group Holdings, LLC.